With 5 cars under 10K that are actually this fast for the price, why would you even need to buy a new car? I don't know. Welcome to Off Camber. So here's the deal. Just 2 rules to this one. You got to be able to find these cars for 10K or under. They can't just be outliers, but they actually have to be out there. And for under 10K, unfortunately, they're not going to be the prettiest cars out there, but they also don't have to be beaters either. And there's one last rule. They got to be able to do a smokey burnout. And just like all the other videos I do, I'm not going to leave you hanging with just a, hey, buy this car, thanks for the click, see you later. I'll give you the best years to buy, what's going to be the first thing to break on you, and where to spend the first $1,000, even though all we all want to do is just add some more low. Hell, some of you guys might even be surprised by the number 1 car. You guys have been talking about it for a while, and I've just been holding back on it. Some other guys out there are going to tell me number 2 should be number 1, but whatever, that's what the comments are for, right? I'm ready. Let's go. Number 5, 2006 to 2008 Dodge Magnum RT, or the 06 to 2010 Chrysler 300C if you are wrong in life and don't like the wagon body style. If it's the front end though, I get it. The front end of the 300C though fits on the Magnum. You're welcome. No matter what though, you aren't going to go wrong with either of these cars. They have the same soul, just throw a little bit different vibe. And by 2009 and up, they got some engine improvements, which means you're probably looking at the 300C. Regardless of which one you pick, the results are the same. You get a 5.7 liter Hemi with a minimum of 345 horsepower headed to those rear wheels. Those smoky burnouts we talked about in the intro, either one of these cars will do one. A big, big smoky one. Right in front of the HOA president's house. Imagine the next community email. It'll be a good read. The golden years for the Magnum, that's 06 to 08, but that's really just because it's the full production run of them. If you need those sedan vibes, the 300C, their production ran longer. You can get the Eagle version of the 5.7 from about 2009 forward. That's going to give you variable cam timing and a different intake that pumped these things up to 390 horsepower and 407 foot-pounds of torque. Either way, 06 to 2010 are the car's sweet spot on price and reliability. So the nightmare situation, it's Chrysler's cylinder deactivation system, or MDS. It's either already failing or it's actively getting ready to. And it's lifter failures that does these things in. So that first $1,000, about that. You're going to want to throw another $500 or so into the pot to get that MDS fixed, done right the first time. You're going to use $1,500 to go get that MDS delete, a cam, and a tune. Texas Speed sells the whole package. You can consider it Chrysler's extended warranty, except for this warranty actually works. Stock, these cars ran low to mid 14s in the quarter mile from the factory. For a 4,000-pound station wagon with a Hemi, that is not bad. As my son would say, this is you entering your hero era. The cam and the tune changes those performance numbers drastically. Hemis love cams, like love cams. Put a cam in a Hemi, and it's a decision your wife's going to hear about from the driveway. The 2009 plus Hemi engines will get damn near 70 horsepower from one. It's like $21 per horsepower. Math. Number 4, the Nissan 350Z. Look, I can already feel the comment section getting all fired up about this. Hold the hate for a second, and let me tell you why this car made it to the list. The 0304 cars, they make like 287 horsepower. The 0506 cars squeeze 300. It's rear-wheel drive, and they come in manual. The VQ35DE is a real engine and always has been a real engine. Nissan chucked this thing into everything for a reason. Just don't straight pipe it, please, for the love of all that is holy in the world. Don't straight pipe it. So the golden years for these cars, 03 to 06. You can legitimately get clean examples in the $6,000 to $9,000 range right now. This car, damn near 1,000 pounds lighter than the Magnum was, by the way. Everything but the base model in the US comes with a viscous LSD. So make sure you're buying one that has it. They wear out over time, but when they stop working, they just kind of act like open diffs. So you'll know you got one that needs to be replaced when you're only smoking one tire as you're leaving the HOA meeting. So the nightmare situation on these cars, early ones have a timing chain tensioner issue. If you don't know the service history of the car, and at this price range, you're probably not going to get a stack of receipts with it, save money in the budget for the service. If you've confirmed that it has the VLSD, inspect it. An easy way to tell is look at the steering wheel. If there aren't any controls on it and it has cloth seats, it's a base model, no LSD. There's also a VIN decoder on my350z.com, and you can get it on your phone. And make sure to get underneath it. If this car lived anywhere that salts the roads in the winter, the undercarriage is going to tell that story. Grab your screwdriver and poke at the things. Look at it before you hand anyone any money. The first $1,000, well, timing chain tensioners. If it's needed, it's probably needed. Get some rear control arm bushings, a fresh alignment, and tires. Whatever's left goes in the part jars. And did I mention that you shouldn't straight pipe it? Don't straight pipe it. Here's what a 350Z teaches you in a Canyon on our track day. A good chassis setup actually matters. These things are super predictable at the limits. I drove one at SEMA one year, I think it was like 04-05 when I was covering it. A vendor was letting us rip one around an autocross course, so naturally, I did some donuts in it. At the skid pad section. And yes, I did this in front of thousands of people. I didn't have any shame then either. Point is, I'd never driven one before, and it was really easy to get in and feel what inputs it wanted from you to do silly things. So for $6,000 to $9,000, this car is probably the most fun per dollar on the whole list. And I'm right, and you know it. You think this car doesn't belong on the list? You know where to go. Number three on the list, a turboed 4-cylinder Dodge Neon. Yeah, I'm saying it, and I'm not even sorry about it. This car has an extremely pissed off 2.4 liters of pent-up aggression and anger in the form of a 4-cylinder engine. 215 horsepower in 2003, that number jumped to 230 for 04 and 05. All in, this car weighs about 3,000 pounds. They ran 14s out of the box in a Dodge Neon that the Chrysler Corporation built on purpose. And you can get them for under $10K right now on Facebook Marketplace. So what's the nightmare situation on these cars? It's the factory clutch. Plan on replacing it. Consider it part of the purchase price. It's hard to tell if they're faulty from the factory or if the owners just beat these things like a redheaded stepchild. But you're going to need one. Boost leaks? Yeah, those are a tradition on SRT-4s. It's like eggnog on Christmas. Also, probably good to find yourself a friend with a smoke tester or go buy one for yourself because, well, you're going to find a boost leak. You'll fix that boost leak. Then you'll find another one. This is fine. Don't forget, this is the experience you're getting this car for. Also, make sure to check the head gasket if the history is unknown. You get a compression test, do a leak down. I mentioned the whole redheaded stepchild thing, right? I'm not sure I've ever seen one of these things leave a stoplight without smoking the tires across the street while banging it off the chip. Your first $1,000. Well, question is, does the car pass the compression and leak down test? If the answer is yes, get a boost controller, catback exhaust, intercooler sprayer. You can use the windshield washer bottle as a tank. You just clean the windshield at gas stations. What you just did with those mods is you just made something that was already pretty quick into something that is stupid fun. Whatever's left goes towards the clutch if it hasn't been done. And if it has been done, save for one anyways. You're leaving the stoplight the same way. You're not the exception to the rule. That's right. You can get a 14-second Dodge Neon for $6,000. They get faster with mods. Those V8 guys at the stoplight, they're going to be confused and then probably a little bit angry. There are two types of people watching this video right now. The ones that are shaking their head yes in agreement, and there are the other ones who have never had one of these things make you giggle like a little girl. Go ahead and tell me which one you are down in the comments. Beep beep, hi. Number 2, 2001 through 2004 C5 Corvette. Here I am talking about Corvettes again, but there is a reason for that. It's a 350 horsepower LS1 smashed into a rear-wheel drive fiberglass body and with independent rear suspension and a really, really low center of gravity. Yes, I know they started making them in 97, and no, I can't recommend those in good faith here. So the 97s to 01s are really well known for their EBCM issues that basically brick the ABS computer, and it ends up messing with the traction control too. And now you're saying, Jason, but you just said I could buy the 01s. And I did, because the 01s, you can rebuild the ABS computer on them. 97 to 2000, you can't rebuild them. Clean drivers for those, under 10K right now. That number's real. They're all over Facebook Marketplace for that price. And are they show cars? Nope. You're going to have to do some cleanup on them. But they have good bones, and the LS1 is a solid engine to start with. The nightmare situation with these? Well, there's a couple. The rear hatch is going to spring a leak on every single C5 at some point. It's not a mechanical issue. It's just something to know about going into this whole thing. Things are going to get wet, but at least they won't rust. Also, the seats, well, they suck. Along with the rest of the interior, it's basically a Tupperware box in there. But the power will make you look past the dashboard. Throw some aftermarket seats in there, and it solves the problem for you. Golden years for these cars, 2001 to 2004. And if you can hunt for a Z51 option, get it. They come with stiffer springs, bigger brakes, and a little bit better cooling. Not a deal breaker if the car doesn't have that package, but if you're picking between two cars and one has it, grab the one with it. Plus, the stiffer springs will make it work better until you can get those coilovers on. First $1,000 you're going to spend, throw a cam and a tune at it and have zero regrets. With those mods, the LS1 will give you a kick in the pants and let you know right where that money went. Open the exhaust up if you can too. The LS1 sings when it can breathe. So here's what this car does that actually matters. It handles. Not handles well for the price or handles well for a car from that era. It handles. On a track day or canyon run, this car doesn't make any apologies. It just gets down. And with some chop from a hog-ass cam, it sounds amazing doing it. And that's why this car is so high on the list. The C5 does business without anyone asking if it's okay. And it's number 2. It's not even number 1. I'd tell you to leave a comment if you disagree, but you don't. So let's go ahead and move on to number 1. What? You again? Hang on a second. Are you still watching and you haven't hit subscribe? Look, I'm doing coilovers. I'm doing bushings. I'm doing control arms. I'm doing all this for you and you haven't hit subscribe for me? Come on, man. Go down there. I think it's over in this corner right here. Hit subscribe. It's free. What's it gonna hurt? All right, sorry to interrupt. Back to the video. Number 1 on the list, and you guys have been in the comments about this car in every V8 list video I've done. Fine, you win. The 2004 through 2006 Pontiac GTO. So let me start this off with what I think the biggest mistake Pontiac made with this car was. It's the name. The name GTO evokes something from people. They compare it to the 60s muscle car, and this car was never trying to be that. This car upended everything that GM had been selling in the US before this. It should have gotten a new name instead of trying to use nostalgia to sell it. I think GM did this car dirty. What the 04 to 06 GTO actually is a Holden Monaro. It's an Australian performance car that GM brought over and badged as a Pontiac, and then they didn't tell anybody about it, and then sold it to whoever wanted a 2-door Grand Am. Saying GM did this car dirty is an understatement, in the same way that saying Johnny Cash makes okay music. And that, in my opinion, is one of the main reasons why this car is so undervalued. All that and how hard they are to actually find parts for. The 2004 car, LS1 5.7 liter, 350 horsepower. For 05 and 06, GM dropped the LS2 6 liter in there with 400 horsepower. This is a Corvette with enough of a back seat to convince your wife you were trying to be practical. The 04 LS1 cars are the ones you're going to find for about 10 grand and under. Coincidentally, they're also the most boring to look at. It legit looks like a 2-door Grand Am. The 05-06 cars, they're pushing our first rule about them not being outliers. But for 400 horsepower, 11 to 12K is still kind of worth talking about. So what's the nightmare situation? Well, there is the elephant in the room, which is parts availability. But actual mechanical issues, the power steering lines go bad and start leaking, and you can budget for those, and then the water pump can get a little pissy with you. Beyond that, there isn't much really that goes wrong with these cars mechanically. The electrical, pretty solid on these things, which is not something you get to say too often about GM products from this era. First $1,000 you're going to spend, do a cam and a tune. The LS1 and LS2s love to be modified. Go get yourself a cold air intake, open up the exhaust if you got the funds. Then do yourself a solid and go check out some of the web forums on them and disappear for the weekend. Most of the guys that own these things actually modify them to some degree, and there are some really good tips and tricks out there that don't cost much money and won't take up much of your time. All right. So right now I can feel that the comment section is getting super fired up about why I put the GTO above a C5 Corvette. I know the C5 is lighter. It communicates way better in the twisty sections or on the track, and it has a lower center of gravity. I'm not going to argue with you about any of that. But what do we use the car for every day? The GTO has a real back seat and a trunk, kinda. And unless you know what you're looking at, it does not give off a single hint of what it is. Hell, the 04 had a single exit exhaust. It might actually be a 2-door Grand Am for all anyone knows. Nobody at the auction or even online on Facebook is fighting you for these cars because they just weren't that popular. These were cars that started the trend of GM bringing something super cool in and then killing it before anybody had a chance to know that it was on sale. You know, the same thing they do right now. And the LS2 makes 400 horsepower for a really, really good price. That's my argument for it. And that's why it's on this list. You want to fight about the C5 versus this in the comments? I'm right here. Comments are right there. So which one of these cars are you buying? Get down in the comments and tell us. And if you're here to tell me that the C5 should be number one, you might not be wrong about it. Come make the argument down here. Want to see some more videos? Stick around and watch this one right here. I think you'll actually like it. And check out the merch store for t-shirts and stickers if you're into that sort of thing. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed your time here, and I'll see you next time on Off Camera.